Hi there, in this video I want to just show you a little bit more into speed graphs. There's been a few people asking how do we use speed graphs, it's a little bit confusing, so I thought, well, let's just have a quick process so you can use it, you can jump in and it makes sense. So I've got this race open here. It is actually just the next race taking place. So this is the 4 o'clock at Newcastle. It's currently 3:55 and I thought this would be a good race to look at. There's not a huge amount of information because it happens to be a novice, so that works quite well with only having a few minutes until the race goes off. But the principle stays the same whether there's a lot of history or not so many. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the speed graph by clicking on it there. And then I'm going to actually put it full screen so you can see it a bit clearer. Okay, so now what we've got on the screen, the speed graphs are made up of two areas. You've got the graph area here where you've got all the lines, and then on the right hand side you've got the horse names. Next to each horse name in brackets we have a dynamic speed figure. This is a speed figure based on the race settings that we've got, and by default it's going to consider every possible race type, but we're going to change that in just a minute. But this is how I start. I start by looking at the graph. If it's quite a quiet graph, I don't reduce anything initially. If it's a really busy graph, I start by reducing it first, right down so it becomes more visible, and I can show both of those. So first of all, let's look at this. So this is a fairly quiet graph, so I'm not going to reduce it first. I'm going to glance down the numbers here and I can see very quickly Desert Lime is looking at the top with around about 100, and then Cover Name, and then there's a bit of a drop down. So without any specific race conditions, these are the horses that potentially have the highest speed. And then I'm just going to eyeball the graph. What I'm looking for on the graph is trend lines upwards and trend lines downwards. So it's just to get a feeling. So for example, I've got the purple line, which is Burj Malinka, kind of doing okay and then starting to trend a bit downwards. I've got Three Hat Day here, bouncing around, so a bit volatile for that runner. We've got Cover Name here, had a really good race and then kind of pretty consistent. We like consistency. Hardy, kind of decreasing performance here. Another decreasing performance here. There's a sloping down line, William of Mowbray. But over here, not raced for a long time, we've got Oasis Law. So Desert Lime is just sitting here with one race, so we haven't really got much history about that horse. So that gives us this very quick brief overview where we see Cover Name, which is one of those two that seem to have potential for speed at the fastest, looking pretty consistent. Desert Lime, one consistent race a long time ago, so we haven't got much more information on that. Outside of that, we've noticed Three Hat Day seems to be a bit volatile. Burj Malinka seems to have a bit of a downward slope, as does William of Mowbray and Hardy. Quick summary there. Very quick summary. Now, because this is a novice race, I'm going to jump back to the market and see what we're looking at. Desert Lime is favourite, short odds, then Burj Malinka, then Cover Name, then Three Hat Day. Okay, so coming back over here, Burj Malinka was that odds-on favourite, already a bit of a concern there. Desert Lime, great. Cover Name, great, both in the kind of top three in the market, and novice races we like to take the market into account because that gives us a good telltale. Now that gives us this overall picture very quickly. Next I'm going to apply the dynamic filter, and this is just race conditions, okay? It's just race conditions. So I come back to the race card. It's a flat all-weather standard to slow 7 furlong race. So let's just put flat all-weather standard to slow, 7 furlongs in yards. I'm going to add a little bit on that, so I'm going to put 1650 yards. So we've got a bit of extra distance, and as expected, with horses that don't have, with races that have horses that haven't had many races, if that makes sense. So where the horses are less experienced, when we filter down we don't get so much information, which is why on these races I prefer to start with all of the races ever run. What we can see here is Burj Malinka has a great speed figure up here on the standard to slow. Then we've got William of Mowbray and Hardy. So this is giving us information as to why Burj Malinka is probably that short odds favourite. So let's just come in and remove the standard to slow filter and include other races. And you see, as soon as we do that, the picture changes. Now Burj Malinka is right down here, comparatively speaking. Cover Name is up here and Desert Lime is up here. So again, Cover Name, Desert Lime start coming in now, looking stronger. If I take the distance filter out and keep stepping backwards to get more stuff on the graph, we don't see a huge amount more information. So where does this leave us? This leaves us with a very quick summary that it looks like Cover Name, Desert Lime are strong, that Burj Malinka is the short odds favourite because of that one race on Standard to Slow where the horse performed really well. Obviously in these races the markets dictate strongly how it may go as well. Now what I would do is I would be looking to contend Burj Malinka with either Cover Name and Desert Lime. I would jump into the FMFR, look at the history of those horses to see how I think they may perform on the ground. But looking at the market quickly here, 2.9, sorry, Desert Lime is the short odds one. I do apologise, Desert Lime and Cover Name. So Desert Lime we can kind of understand a bit why it's there and it's short, but possibly wouldn't take it at 1.85. Cover Name at odds of 8 seems to be offering great value, and I'd probably be looking at Cover Name just jumped up to 9.4 in some sort of 80-20 or a place bet situation. Any questions on this at all, please let me know. This is kind of a short, quick 5-minute way that we can get this really fast overview using the visual aids of Speedgrass into a race. Any questions, drop me a comment and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.